Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. Hey, everybody, I'd just like to start off first with a big shout-out of support to all of the listeners in Italy right now. I know things are rough for you folks over there, with the lockdown and the serious situation going on with the coronavirus. I just want you all to know that you're not forgotten. Even though we're dealing with our own issues here in America, we have not forgotten you, and you are in our thoughts, and I'm sure those of us who are religious are praying for you. But, I have some friends over there. I obviously have family over there. It's a serious situation, folks. I'm not going to get into the whole coronavirus debate one way or the other. What I will suggest to my listeners is this. Do not listen to what any politicians have to say. Do not listen to what any pundits have to say on TV. Listen to the medical professionals. And that means if you're really interested in what's going on, seeking out information in medical journals such as The Lancet. There's a great post by an Italian surgeon on Reddit right now about what he was facing on the front lines and what he is facing on the front lines on a daily basis. And it gives you a real insight to just how serious and just how severe that this can be. And like I said, I'm not going to get into the whole debate about, it's just a flu or it's not a flu. This is not the forum for that. But what I did want to do is, before we started the program today, make sure that the listeners in Italy know that, we're thinking about them, and that hopefully this blows over real soon, and my beautiful homeland will eventually be back to normal. Because what's going on over there is just it's not only just sad, but it's a preview to come to what can happen in any one of our cities. If Milan and Venice can be locked down, folks, any city in the free world can get locked down. So with that said, we're going to jump into our article today. And our article, obviously, has to do with the Prince of Punk asses still, because if you think I'm done letting loose on him with both barrels, you're wrong. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know that Prince Andrew, a.k.a. the Prince of Punk asses, is not my favorite person on the planet. He embodies everything that is wrong with the so-called elite class, and it's unconscionable that this man believes that he is going to get off for this. I have to tell you, folks, I really have to tell you that although it's going to be an uphill climb, eventually we're going to get to the summit. And I truly believe that the dominoes are going to start to fall. And like I said last night on the podcast, I don't think it'll be Prince Andrew that'll be the first domino to fall, right? I think it'll be some of the lower level lieutenants, people with some information, people with the keys to the kingdom, so to say. You start bringing them in, you start rattling their tree, and before you know it, you have some fruit on the ground. So I believe that's what we'll see first when we see this kicked into high gear, when we really see the prosecutors start going to work. I think that'll be the step that will let us know that we're on the path towards justice. So this article this morning is from the Daily Mail, and the headline is, "Hypocrite Prince Andrew is torturing Jeffrey Epstein survivors by offering to speak to U.S. authorities, then shutting the door," claims their lawyer. Well, let's be honest here real quick. Gloria Allred is not the lawyer for all of these girls. She's a lawyer for some of them. So the headline says claims their lawyer. That's not exactly correct because, well, she's not all of their lawyer. But I guess that's just, that's getting down into the nuts and the bolts of it. So let's just jump into the article. Before we do that, though, the authors are Martin Robinson. The author is Martin Robinson, chief reporter for Mail Online. Prince Andrew's failure to speak to the FBI is inflicting more pain and suffering on Jeffrey Epstein survivors who feel like they are in a torture chamber, their lawyer has claimed today. Well, we'll say Gloria Allred has claimed today. But guess what? A broken clock is right twice a day at least. And this might be one of those times that Gloria Allred is right because, look, there is a lot more suffering. There is a lot more stress, a lot more mental anguish when this man who has come out and said, oh yeah, I'm going to cooperate, I'll speak to authorities, then he comes out and clams up like this. Imagine being Virginia Roberts for a second. Imagine how she feels to see this guy who treated her so wrongly and so horribly get up there and act like he is innocent, act like he is not a liar. I had somebody on Twitter yesterday say to me, well, we really don't know the whole story, and they deserve their day in court. Of course they deserve their day in court. So why are they avoiding it? Why are they avoiding speaking to the authorities? If he's so innocent and he is so honorable and he has so much honor that he could hop on a plane to go break up with his BFF, Jeffrey Epstein, the pedophile, he can't muster up just a little bit of honor to speak to these authorities? Does not sound like an innocent man to me, folks. Gloria Allred, who represents 5 women who were allegedly abused by the Duke of York's pedophile friend, has revealed she sent a letter to the royal's Windsor home urging him to help the authorities, but has not had any reply. Well, not only did she send a note, she also sent the bus over there, which I thought was pretty righteous. Look, I am not a fan of Gloria Allred. I am not a fan of any lawyer who inserts themselves in the case to become the story. I'm a fan of lawyers who stay in the background for the most part, and then when they get into the courtroom, they're animals. Those are the kind of lawyers I like. But what I will say is this: if Gloria Allred's going to do things like send the bus over and then bring more eyes to the case, then hey, that's fine. But let's remember that she is not representing Virginia Roberts. So when she's speaking, she's not really speaking for Virginia Roberts' defense team. So we always have to keep that in mind. Gloria Allred is involved in the case, right? But not representing Virginia, who is the one who has accused Prince Andrew. So we have to remember that Gloria Allred is not a spokesperson for Virginia. I guess that's what I was trying to get to, and I took the detour to get there. Miss Allred also believes that claims Andrew has not been contacted by the authorities in the U.S. are false. She said, "This is so hypocritical on the part of Prince Andrew, a.k.a. the Prince of Punk Asses. There is this drip, 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 and this torture chamber where he says he will speak to them, then he won't, then he will, with conditions. This does nothing but inflict more pain and suffering on the survivors." Again, she is right about that. Either this dude needs to shit or get off the pot. There is no way that this guy should be able to dictate the terms to the investigation. The investigation should dictate the terms to him. I don't care that he's a prince. I don't care that he hides behind mummy skirts. I don't care that he's hiding in Buckingham Palace. None of that matters. None of that matters. There is no escape from the federal government of the United States. Okay? Miss Allred told the BBC Prince Andrew didn't say what he meant or mean what he said when he was sympathetic to the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, and that he would speak to the authorities, the FBI and the Department of Justice if required. He's shutting the door. And I predicted that, folks. I said that it's the second he gets lawyered up, the lawyers are going to sit down and have one conversation with this moron and realize that this babbling fool has zero chance to withstand the interrogation methods of the federal government of the United States. So the lawyers got him, sat him down, said, from now on, you are not saying a damn word. Shut your stupid mouth. Let us take care of this. And that is exactly what's going on. We see now that he has his lawyers. The lawyers have all told him, look, shut up. Just shut your mouth. Don't say another word. You're going to incriminate yourself more than you already have. And we're going to take this we'll take this to whatever degree we need to take it to. We're going to stall as long as possible, and then we'll go from there. Because that's exactly what's going on in all of these cases with these elite people. They always stall. They'll go through all these motions because they have money to burn, folks. What does it matter if their lawyer costs $1,500 an hour? It doesn't matter to them. They have all the money in the world. While the rest of us, $1,500 an hour for a lawyer is just so incredibly impossible that we're stuck with, half-rate lawyers, blah, 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 blah. And then again, what you do is you get a very good, stark view of the two-tier justice system and how it is stacked against you and stacked against me and built in the favor of dirty scumbags like the Prince of Punk Asses. I understand he has been contacted by the authorities. I sent a letter to his home in December on behalf of the survivors, asking him to speak to the FBI. He doesn't have to come here. He can speak to them in the UK. And there's zero chance he's coming to America. I mean, he ain't Eddie Murphy. This guy comes to America, forget it. He's going to jail if he comes to America. He's going to get arrested, and he's going to jail. If the feds don't do it, then it's going to be a citizen's arrest because I'm showing up to put him in cuffs. Enough is enough with this dude. Enough is enough with all of these so-called elites just thumbing their nose at the law while the rest of us are stuck living by the rules that these elites set, even though they don't even live by their own rules. The Duke of York has completely shut the door on cooperating voluntarily with the U.S. investigators over the Jeffrey Epstein case, a top New York prosecutor said yesterday. In a statement which raised the possibility of a transatlantic legal battle, outspoken U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman said the American authorities are now considering further options. And if you listened to the podcast last night, I was talking about that. When you thumb your nose at the feds in America, you better be ready to go to the mattresses, because these dudes love nothing more than prosecuting people. Now, that goes for the average Joe public. They don't have as much wherewithal, as much inner fortitude when it comes to going after people like Prince Andrew. Although, in this case, I don't believe Prince Andrew will be the first domino to fall. I believe that they're exerting pressure on Andrew right now and shaking his tree and rattling him up a little bit to get some of the other co-conspirators wound up. If they see that Prince Andrew is under this scrutiny, none of them can be sleeping well. I mean, look, you got to think that Sarah Kellen Vickers, who we're going to discuss at length tomorrow, and Leslie Groff and Haley Robson and the rest of them are not sleeping well right now. Because, in my opinion, and if this case breaks the way that most of these cases break in organized crime cases, because we know how that works, if this case breaks that way and they pursue it as a criminal enterprise, an ongoing criminal enterprise, then people like Sarah Kellen Vickers and Haley Robson and Leslie Groff, those are the kind of people that are going to be crucial to bringing down the rest of the organization, because they're lieutenants who have a lot of information. They're like capos in the mafia. They have a lot of information. They've had FaceTime with the boss. They've talked to the boss. They know the boss's plans. They've had direct orders from the boss, so they can directly implicate, aka the boss, aka Ghislaine Maxwell, as one of the leadership in one of the leadership roles. So once you start bringing those people in, then the higher ups are in real jeopardy of getting pinched. His extraordinary broadside came days after details emerged of the high-powered legal team assembled by the Duke of York, aka the Prince of Punkasses, as the FBI continues to investigate his close association with pedophile Epstein. He is being advised by extradition expert Claire Montgomery, QC, who previously fought to keep Chilean dictator Augusto Pinochet from facing justice. Prince Andrew, 60, was a friend of Epstein, the convicted sex offender and millionaire pedophile who killed himself last August, allegedly, while in custody in New York awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. The Queen's second son denies all claims of sexual misconduct relating to the Epstein case, but has stepped back from public duties after an interview with the BBC about their friendship backfired spectacularly. Yeah, well, that's all you have to do as one of his new lawyers is take a look at that interview, and you realize very quickly that you cannot put this man in front of a prosecutor. Not the way he was. Now, they might be grooming him now, schooling him now, and getting him prepared for some sort of talk with investigators if that comes to pass at some point. But there is zero chance that the Prince Andrew we saw sit down for that BBC interview would ever be sitting down with federal investigators from the United States with, as far as the lawyers are concerned. There is zero chance the lawyers would allow that. Yesterday, Mr. Berman, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, said, contrary to Prince Andrew's very public offer to cooperate with our investigation into Epstein's co-conspirators, an offer that was conveyed via press release, Prince Andrew has now completely shut the door on voluntary cooperation, and our office is considering its options. Well, I can help them out with the options. Very simple. Just slap RICO charges on the whole lot of these people and be done with it. And then watch the dominoes fall. Then watch the rats scurry off of the deck. Because once the RICO case starts, oh boy, it's a whole new ball game. The Duke told the BBC in November that he was willing to help any appropriate law enforcement agency with their investigations if required. But in January, Mr. Berman accused him of failing to help the FBI's Epstein probe, saying he had provided zero cooperation despite a request for an interview. He suggested the prince had rebuffed all attempts by federal prosecutors to interview him, and I don't doubt that. These lawyers weren't just hired recently, folks. He's been in talks with them. He's had legal counsel, and they have told him to not speak to these investigators. And that's just the way it goes. That's what these lawyers do. And I said that in the very beginning. I said the second he gets lawyered up, if the lawyers are worth their weight in salt, they're going to make him shut his yap right away before he incriminates himself more. At the time, an angry and bewildered Andrew denied claims that he had snubbed the FBI's Epstein inquiry, friends said. Again, another lie. So how many lies do we have to catch this man in before his credibility is absolutely and completely shot with everyone? Now, I know a majority of people believe Virginia's story and believe that Prince Andrew is up to his neck in this. But there are still some people who actually believe that this is some kind of hit job on this man. And I wonder what is wrong with those people. Are they suffering from CTE? Did you fall and hit your head? What could possibly lead you to believe that Prince Andrew is being honest in this situation when all he has done the whole entire time is lie? A source close to the prince claimed nothing could be further from the truth. He was in fact more than happy to talk, but he hasn't been approached by them yet, the source insisted. Another lie. So not only is he the prince of punk asses, we should call him the prince of lies as well, because that's exactly what he is. A lying bastard. Andrew has categorically denied having any knowledge that Epstein was sexually abusing teen girls. He has also strenuously denied claims made by Virginia Roberts that she was forced to have sex with him on 3 occasions in London, New York, and on Epstein's private Caribbean island. Miss Roberts alleges she first had sex with Andrew in 2001 when she was 17 after being trafficked by Epstein. She said she was flown on Epstein's private jet to London to meet the Duke, and the pair were photographed together in the Belgravia home of Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's former girlfriend. We've seen the pictures. We've seen the receipts. We've heard the evidence. We've heard from the pilots. We've seen the flight logs. We've heard from other witnesses who have seen them together at Tramp. We've heard from somebody who saw Andrew groping her and kissing her on the island in the Virgin Islands. But there is not enough evidence to bring this guy in for questioning yet? If it was you or I, folks, we'd already be in there. We wouldn't have had our first phone call yet, and they would not have been giving us our Coca-Cola, okay? We'd have the screws put to us. 24 hours straight of interrogation, the whole flip. Why is it so hard for them to administer justice fairly? Miss Montgomery, who has been hired by the Duke, is Britain's most respected extradition lawyer. In 1999, she represented Pinochet in front of the law lords when he faced multiple allegations of human rights abuses. Attempts to extradite him were dropped after he was ruled unfit to stand trial. Buckingham Palace refuses to comment on Andrew's legal battle with the U.S. authorities, saying the matter is being dealt with by the prince's legal team, which is yet to issue a statement. Wow. Miss Roberts claims that she was flown to London by Epstein in March 2001 when she was 17 and coerced into having sex with the Duke. This was the first of 3 alleged sexual encounters with the prince. Andrew, 60, has categorically denied the claims, and in November he told Newsnight Emily Maitlis, "I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever." Well, first of all, when you met her, she wasn't a lady. She was a girl, okay? That's first. Second, you're an absolute liar, Prince Andrew, okay? You're an absolute liar. Nobody believes you. They don't believe you in New York. They don't believe you in Minnesota. They don't believe you in California. They don't believe you in Arizona. They do not believe you in Texas, and they do not believe you in Louisiana. They don't believe you in Italy. They do not believe you in China. They don't believe you in the UK. And guess what, Prince Andrew, the prince of punk asses, the prince of lies? The polar bears in the great Arctic North don't believe you, and the penguins in the Antarctic do not believe you either. Nobody believes your BS. In an interview with Dateline last year, Miss Roberts said, "I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that even royalty were involved. He was a prince. He was famous. It just stuck out in my mind. I grew up watching Disney, and princesses and princes were the good people in the world, and he wasn't. Folks, how is this man still running around free? How has this man not been brought in for questioning? Put yourself in the position of Virginia Roberts for a moment, or her family, or anybody who cares about her. And think about the great burden that has been thrust upon her shoulders for this many years, for this long, by a man, like she just says right there, a man who is a prince. And when you think of a prince, you want to think of someone like Robb Stark, right? But instead, what you get with Prince Andrew is you get more of Joffrey. And it's disgusting, it's disturbing, and we're not going to let our foot off the gas until justice is served. You know, I've gotten to the point with this case where we're 157 straight days in right now with the podcast, and I have never been more motivated to keep going, folks. I'm not burned out. It's not a grind for me. I enjoy every single conversation that I have with you folks. Every single time I turn on the microphone and I record an episode, I have a great time doing it. And at the same time, I get agitated like it's nobody's business when I read these articles and I see how these people have gotten away with it for so long, and I see that these survivors deserve to be heard, that they deserve justice, and I see that the media just has abandoned them for so long. They turned their back for so long. Everybody turned their back on these survivors for so long. And now, though, traction is starting to be gained. People are starting to wake up. People are starting to be aware of what was going on. And now that the public is learning the true story, now that the public is learning that the media dropped the ball as well as the authorities, well, the public is no longer trusting the media to report this case fairly. And so what happens is there's been a huge upturn in investigative journalists who are independent, not working for any outlets, who have dove into this story. And without all of their hard, great work, we would never have been even anywhere near the point of Prince Andrew even being blown up like this in public. So I just want to give a shout out to all of those content creators and independent journalists and everybody working tirelessly to bring some justice to this case. You know, all I could say, the only advice I can offer is just keep your foot on the gas. Keep going. Do not get discouraged. And we have to see this through to the end now. And that's just the only way to go. It's the only way to move forward, is to just put your head down, chew on your mouthpiece, and start throwing punches in the middle of the ring. Because these people aren't going to go down without a fight. So we have to be willing to do what it takes to stand there and absorb some blows to throw some back. And that's what I plan on doing. I'll never be intimidated. I'll never be chased off of this podcast. And I will never, ever, ever be told what to say or what to think. All right, everybody, if you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. And if you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can do that at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. If you enjoy the podcast and you like my work and you would like to help out, you can do that by clicking on the GoFundMe link inside of that description box. All right, everybody, so I will be back later on tonight with the Daily Drop. I hope you all have a fantastic Tuesday and that you all stay safe. If you're in Las Vegas, please drive safely out there. It's nice and wet. And to the rest of you, enjoy your day.